One day, Jesus' friends, the disciples, were arguing. Who will be the most important in God's new kingdom? It must be me, because I am always ready to do anything for Jesus. No, it must be me because he said he loves me the most. That's not true, it must be me because I always want to understand what he means. Why do you think he gave me responsibility for our money? It's because he trusts me the most. Jesus heard this and called them to him. When they were gathered around, he brought a small child to them. Look, he said, unless you change and become like this child, you will not enter God's kingdom. Whoever wants to be the greatest must become like a child and value others more than themselves. Whoever welcomes a child because they love me also welcomes me.
Jesus warns that causing believers to stumble is very serious, advising that it would be better to face severe punishment than to lead others astray. He emphasizes the importance of removing anything that causes personal sin, even if it means severe sacrifice, to avoid eternal punishment.
This is Richard. Richard is a shepherd and takes care of a lot of sheep. One of his sheep is called Claire. Claire is a nosy sheep. One day Richard is looking for his sheep and just like every morning goes out to bring them fresh water. But today something seems wrong. Claire is missing. Richard looks for her everywhere. The other sheep also have no idea where she went. Richard decides to leave the other sheep alone and starts to search for Claire. He asks everyone on the street if they have seen Claire. Some people have seen her and decide to help Richard. After a long time searching, Richard finally finds Claire. Richard is so happy to have Claire back that he takes her on his shoulders and carries her the long way back home. Jesus told this story to show his listeners how happy God is about someone who turns back to follow him. He even leaves behind the many sheep that are not lost just to search for the one which was lost and to bring it back home.
If a brother or sister sins, first try to resolve it privately. If they don't listen, involve one or two others. If they still refuse, bring the matter to the church. If they don't listen to the church, treat them as an outsider. Jesus says that decisions made on earth are recognized in heaven, and when two or more gather in his name, he is within.
This is Mike. Mike has a company. Because his company is not running so well, he must take out a loan from the bank. One day, the manager of the bank calls him in and asks him how he's planning to pay off his loan. Mike is desperate and begs the banker to give him more time. He tells him about his company and how hard it is to survive right now. The banker has mercy on him and decides to forgive his debts to the bank. Mike is incredibly happy as he leaves to return home. Now on the street, Mike meets Henry. Henry owes Mike $50. Mike immediately tells Henry he wants all of his money back, and as Henry asks him for some more time to pay him back, Mike begins to get even more angry. He calls the police and orders them to put Henry in prison. When the manager of the bank hears what Mike did, he gets angry. The manager calls Mike and tells him to give back the money that he had owed. Because Mike still can't pay back his debt, he is put in prison. He will have to stay there until all of his debts are paid. Jesus told this story to show his listeners that we need to forgive each other. God has forgiven us way more than we can imagine, but he will not forgive us anymore if we are not willing to forgive others.